back in, and I was telling you offline earlier, but I'll tell the story for the listeners, is when I was young in my origination, like early, I think I was like my first week on the job or something like that. I was working at a company called UC Lending. You remember those guys? There was like one of the oldest, they were 50 years in the business back then. They went under. But I was sitting next to a telemarketer, and this guy was so good on the phone. I was like, I just can't. And he gave me a script, and I was like having to follow the script, and I was terrible at it. I just kept getting hung up on, and I hated it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just get out of here. So I like left the office and just kind of on a break. And I was like looking around, and I saw across the street a couple places, and I saw like over here. And then I walked across the street, and I saw it was like a boat dealership. They had the jet skis and like little mini boats, fishing boats, wakeboarding boats, speed boats. And I just kind of was looking around, like, you know, at first I wasn't thinking of like getting leads from this place.
Because you love jet skis.
I was like, I love jet skis. I want to go to Cancun and jet ski. But I was like, finally, I just got the guts to talk to someone and said, do you guys offer financing on these things? And he's like, yeah, go over here, talk to this guy. So I went over and talked to the finance person, and I just asked him, I said, do you ever have people that you turn down for financing? And he's like, yeah, all the time, I do. And he like literally opened up his drawer, and he's like, yeah, I got a bunch of turn downs right here. And I like gave him my card, and I said, I do, you know, alternative lending. Back then it was subprime. We were selling like 10% first mortgages with 6 points, and we did seconds, these really cool seconds. Like I think it was like very limited doc, and it was like the rate was crazy. But he pulled this thing out, and I started looking through it, and I'm like, is there like a box on there that says if they're a homeowner or not? And he's like, yeah, there's like renter or homeowner. And so I flipped through them, and I was like, okay, here's a homeowner, and finally I got to the end, and like half the stack was homeowners, and they'd been turned down for loans. And I was like, what if I could get these guys a second mortgage, or, you know, even a first cash out, and then have them come back and buy, you know, a boat or a jet ski? Would that be okay? He's like, yeah, take them. So I'm sure he broke some laws of privacy or whatever.
For sure did, but
I was like, I'm gonna get some, and I got some business out of it. So I mean, not saying that would work for you today, but if you think out of the box,
it's true. The reality is most people, when they get declined for a loan, assume that they can't get a loan, period.
Right. Yeah,
their bank isn't telling them, hey, but you should look online, there's other options. It's when they go into their bank because they trust it. Hey, I've been with Bank of America for 20 years. And they say no, they just leave with their tail behind their leg. And that idea is false. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that were like, oh no, I can't get a loan. Yeah. My bank denied me.
And you're like, this let me try. And you're like, and they're like, I don't know.
And then they love you forever, which is great.
And then they tell people about you, and just, that's the best. When you get